Imagine you wake up one morning, you are 63 years old, you have worked hard your entire life, 40 years of discipline, savings, and sacrifice. And today you logged into your retirement portal to check your balance before you finally, after all these years, decide to retire. The screen loads and it shows you a balance that is wrong. Not slightly wrong, significantly wrong. Your name is misspelled, your beneficiary is listed as someone who passed away a decade ago, and your investment allocation, the one you carefully chose 5 years back, is nowhere to be found. You call the helpline, you wait 45 minutes, and the agent on the other end tells you, "Sir, we are seeing some discrepancies in our system, we will need to investigate." Now ask yourself, whose failure is that? That is not a technology failure, that is a data failure. And in financial services, a data failure is not just a technical glitch. It is a breach of trust. It is a broken promise to a human being at the most vulnerable moment of their financial life. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the problem I have dedicated the last 15 years of my career to solving. Let me take you back to when I first stepped into the world of financial data engineering. I remember sitting in a conference room at a major financial institution, surrounded by stacks of reports, physical reports printed from 5 different systems. Each one told a different story about the same customer. 5 systems, 5 versions of the truth, and not a single one of them was right. This is what we call data fragmentation. And in the financial services world, it is a silent killer of operational excellence. Think about what a large financial organization actually looks like on the inside. You have group insurance systems managing employee sponsored benefits. You have retirement platforms tracking 401k and pension funds. You have investment portfolios with real-time data market flowing in from dozens of sources. You have compliance engines monitoring every transaction, and you have customer services system that are supposed to bring all of this together into a seamless experience. But here is the reality. These systems were often built at different times by different teams with different roles, different data models, and the different definitions of even the most basic things. What does customer mean? What does active policy mean? What does beneficiary mean? In one system, a retired customer is inactive. In another, they are closed. In third, they do not even exist because the migration was never completed. This is not a hypothetical. This is the reality I walked into on day one. And my job, my mission was to bring order to this chaos. So, where do you even begin? You begin with a fundamental question: what is the truth? In data engineering, we call this the golden record, a single trusted version of a customer or a product that every system in the enterprise can rely on. It sounds simple, it is anything but. To build a golden record, you first have to understand every source of data in your organization, every system, every database, every data feed. You have to map the data, understand where it comes from, what it means, how it transforms as it moves from one system to another. This is what we call data lineage. And in the financial world, Data lineage is not just a best practice, it is a regulatory requirement. Regulators need to know where did this number come from, who touched it, when, and why. I began architecting what we call end-to-end data integration frameworks. Using tools like Informatica, DataStage, and Click Replicate, we build pipelines. Think of them like carefully engineered rivers that carried data from dozens of source systems, cleansed it, validated it, enriched it, and delivered it to a central governed repository. But here is what I want you to understand. A pipeline is only as good as the rules you put inside it. We built validation engines, automated systems that check every record before it moves forward. Is this social security number valid? Does this customer already exist under another ID? Is this investment amount within a plausible range for someone of this age and risk profile? And every rule we built had a story behind it. Every rule came from a real world failure that had cost the business or worse, cost a customer something real. Now, here is where the story gets exciting. For most of the last 2 decades, data engineering was about moving data reliably and accurately. And that was enough for a while. But the old changed, customers changed, expectations changed, and the sheer volume of data exploded in ways that no human team could keep up with manually. When I started, we were talking about thousands of records a day. Today, we are talking about millions of transactions per hour. Real-time data feeds, streaming customer behavior data, continuous regulatory updates, and all of it needs to be processed, validated, and acted upon instantly. This is where artificial intelligence entered my world. And honestly, it transformed everything. Let me give you a concrete example. In retirement portfolio management, one of the biggest challenges is predicting customer behavior. When will someone start withdrawing? How much will they withdraw? Are they at risk of outliving their savings? These are not just financial questions, they are deeply human questions. And answering them accurately can mean the difference between a customer thriving in retirement or facing financial hardship. We built ML models, machine learning models, trained on historical behavioral data, market trends, and demographic signals. These models could identify patterns that no human analyst could spot. A customer who makes a certain combinations of portfolio changes combined with a specific age bracket and a contribution slowdown has an 80% probability of initiating a withdrawal within the next 90 days. What does that matter? Because now the institution can proactively reach out, they can offer guidance, they can ensure the customer is making informed decisions. They can protect both the customer and the business simultaneously. This is not just technology, that is the empathy at scale. But AI is only as powerful as the data you feed it. And this brings me to what I consider the heartbeat of everything I do, master data management or MDM. If AI is brain of modern financial data platform, MDM is the heart. Without it, everything else breaks down. Let me explain what MDM really means in practice, not in textbook terms, but in human terms. Every financial institutions has customers, millions of them, and each of those customers has a relationship with the institution that spans years, sometimes decades. They have insurance policies, retirement accounts, investment holdings, beneficiary designations, and communication preferences. All of this data lives across dozens of systems. MDM is the discipline and the technology of ensuring that every single piece of information about every single customer is accurate, consistent, and synchronized across every system in real time. Sounds straightforward? Here is where it gets complicated. A customer might be John Michael Smith in one system, J. Smith in another, John Smith Jr. in a third. Are these the same person? Probably. But how do you know for certain? What if there really are two John Smiths with similar demographic profiles? We built AI-driven deduplication engines, systems that use probabilistic matching, machine learning, and business rules to identify whether two records represents the same human being. These systems consider dozens of signals simultaneously: name, date of birth, social security number, address history, policy numbers, transaction patterns, and they make a determination with a confidence score. And when the confidence score is below a threshold, the system doesn't guess. It flags it for human review, because in financial services, guessing wrong is not just an inconvenience. It can have legal, financial, and deeply personal consequences. This is what I mean when I say MDM is not just a technology initiative, it is a trust initiative. Now, I want to talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention in technology conversations: data governance. Governance is not glamorous. Nobody writes TED Talks about governance frameworks. Nobody gets standing ovations for building metadata repositories. But let me tell you this: in a regulated industry like financial services, governance is the difference between an institution that operates with the integrity and one that collapses under the weight of its own complexity. I have seen what happens when governance fails. I have seen organizations where nobody can answer a simple question: where did this number come from? Because the data has passed through so many systems, been transformed so many times, and been owned by so many different teams that the trail has gone cold. Regulators do not accept that answer. Auditors do not accept that answer. And increasingly, customers do not accept that answer either. We built lineage tracking systems that document every transformation a piece of data undergoes from the moment it enters the ecosystem to the moment it appears in a report or powers a decision. Every step, every rule, every timestamp. We built metadata repositories, essentially data about data that tell you what a field means, where it came from, who owns it, and how it should be used. Because in a large financial organization, having data is not enough. You need to understand your data. And we built automated data quality scorecards, systems that continuously monitor the health of data across all domains and surface issues before they become problems. Not reactive, proactive. This is what data governance looks like when it is done right. It is not a checkbox, it is a living, breathing system of accountability. The final chapter of this story, and I say final loosely because I believe we are still in the early stages, is the move to cloud native AI first data architecture. When I started working with platforms like AWS, Microsoft Fabric, I realized we were not just moving to a new infrastructure. We were rethinking how financial data systems are built and operated. In a traditional on-premises world, building a new data pipeline took weeks. Provisioning servers, configuring environments, testing integrations. By the time you delivered the solution, the business requirement had evolved. In a cloud native world, we can provision infrastructures in minutes. We can scale automatically based on demand during peak trading hours, during open enrollment periods for group insurance, during market volatility events when data volume spikes unpredictably. But more importantly, cloud native platforms like Microsoft Fabric bring something entirely new to the table. The convergence of data engineering, data science, and business intelligence in a single unified environment. Imagine a world where a data engineer, a data scientist, and a business analyst are all working on the same platform with the same data, governed by the same rules in real time. No more silos, no more handoffs, no more we will get you the data by end of week. The old is not coming, it is here, and I am building inside of it every day. And layered on top of this, the next frontier I am exploring is agentic AI. Systems that do not just analyze data, systems that act on it. Self-regulating data pipelines that detect their own anomalies and fix them. Compliance engines that proactively identify regulatory exposure before a human reviewer even opens a ticket. Customer personalization systems that adapt in real time based on behavioral signals without human intervention. This is the intelligent enterprise. And for financial services, it represents not just a competitive advantage, it represents a fundamental obligations to the customer who entrust us with their most sensitive financial lives. Let me bring you back to where we started. That 63-year-old man staring at a wrong balance on his retirement portal. Here is what I want you to know. Behind every data point in a financial system is a human story. A person who worked hard, who made sacrifices, who trusted an institution to keep their information safe and accurate and meaningful. When we build better data systems, when we apply AI with intention, when we govern data with discipline, when we manage master data with care, We are not just improving technology metrics, we are honoring the trust. Data quality is not a technical problem, it is a moral responsibility. Governance is not a compliance burden, it is a commitment to accountability. And AI, when applied ethically and thoughtfully, is not a replacement for human judgment. It is an amplifier of human empathy. I chose this work not because it was easy, but because it matters. Because somewhere out there, a person is making one of the most important financial decisions of their life, and the data systems we build are either going to support them or fail them. I intended to keep building systems that support them. Thank you.